they can have a performance, this performance early on in the piece that makes their job a lot easier, because maybe Blank Blue later in the season start to kind of kick into gear, but right now we're just not really seeing that.
Well, that's it. Maybe it's Drop Bears just being a little bit better for now. Maybe it's a meta thing here, Jordan. Some considerable changes across the board since Season 1 of Contenders. I'm not sure how it's going to play out across the season, but look, if anyone was going to do anything to make us not talk about the Drop Bears being the hot pick for the finals already in day number 1, it needs to be Blank Blue right here to do it for us. Temple of Anubis, map number 3, Drop Bears on defense. Blank Blue coming out here on attack, Jordan. And you can see just one sniper this time for Blank Blue.
Yeah, ATAR going to be going back onto that Genji. Did not get to see that, I don't think, at all in Season 1 of Contenders. But really, Genji is where ATAR made his name when Overwatch first came out and when we saw him playing on Jam Gaming. You know, he was the ATAR god that everyone really aspired to be at that time. And we'll see him back onto what was once a comfort pick for him. We'll see whether he's going to be able to bring back some kind of magic again on that Genji.
Well, Bertlock goes down straight away here to Signed. And a couple of picks as well. Signed finally going to go down. But I guess if you want to get a pick first up as the sniper, Jordan, you probably want to find the Mercy, because that makes every other pick you get after that just that little bit more valuable with no res there to counteract it. They're on the point right now. Looks like we're going to find 1/3. No, slowly Jordation jumps on, but very quickly falls back off. Get out of here.
Drop Bears are not going to really be able to contest this one at all. As soon as you kind of lose that first point, once the trigger has to come into effect, it is very difficult to kind of come back in, just because of how long it takes you to get there, and then the routes in which you have to take to get onto that point as well. They're quite choke pointy, if that makes sense. So Blank Blue have quite an easy time of clearing things up there on that first point. And again, that's what we expected. That's what you typically are going to see on a map like this one. If you do get stuck on that first point of Temple of Anubis, you really know that you're in a bit of a tricky situation then. But this is where Sydney Drop Bears are going to be able to show their mettle, holding on to that second point. Blank Blue, if they don't run over them with this ultimate advantage here, it's going to be very tough for Blank to cap this second point.
Well, 6.5 minutes is what Blank have to work with, Jordan. And you can hear in the background there as well, pushing through Color Hex there with the Dragon Blade. Gob going to pop that Primal Rages now, but no one's gone down in all this. Finally, it's Anta going to go down to Color Hex there, trying to find another one. Not this time around, however, pushes through. There we go. Anta going to get brought back to life. And Ata pushed there off the point by Quats and his Primal Rage. But 60 seconds gone, no ticks on the point. They just have to do that another 5.5 times, Jordan.
Really nice work from a Kraken there on the Zenyatta, just keeping the Transcendence for as long as possible. He was being bullied by Gob. When there's a big monkey on top of you, you're not going to be too pleased. But a Kraken held on to that Q button for as long as he could and got as much value out of the Transcendence as possible, keeping the rest of his team alive as well as himself for just a couple of seconds longer, which can be all the difference. Change up though from Blank. Have a look at this straight away. We've got the Reinhardt, we've got the Brigitte, another combo that we're going to be seeing quite a lot of. And Brigitte can be a real big problem for Reinhardt when you're going up against one. Luckily for Drop Bears, they don't have one at the moment, but she's going to be a real pain to deal with.
Yeah, we're going to see how that plays out across the season. Looks like they're going left this time around. Jordation here with, I don't know, a bit of AoE DPS, I suppose you could say. We'll see whether the Junkrat will make a difference here on defense or whether it's not going to be enough. No Riptide as of yet. There we go. Mine comes through, but it's Quats actually the first one going to go down there to Sign, who's now moved across away from the Widow. Quats going to come back to life, but Sign looking pretty strong here on the point, pushing through. They're doing pretty well here on attack, Jordan. Blank Blue. Color Hex finds one. Finally, they get a shutdown. Yeah, but Jordation here on the Junkrat has been really uncontested. He's got himself the Riptire available now, and we'll see whether he's going to be able to get much use out of that one. Perhaps doesn't even really need it at this point, as it does look like the Drop Bears are winning this fight right now, and so he's going to hang on to it and use that in a later fight. Great work again from the Drop Bears, and just highlighting on Jordation on this Junkrat. It is really the perfect kind of counter to the roster that Blank Blue are running right now, because Blank, with this kind of a death ball composition, they really want to be the quad tank setup really that we used to see. Obviously we've got Brigitte, which is a support, but even still she's very tanky and very kind of tank oriented in a sense as well. So yeah, a Jordation on this Junkrat is going to be a real pain for Blank Blue to deal with. Yeah, it's a cool little adaptation, as you said, to what we have seen in quad tank before. A couple of extra Little bits of healing coming out there as well may prove useful here, particularly when everyone's stacked up together. Ooh. But Gob going to go down there to Jordation's first Riptire.
Yeah, when you look at the roster that Blank Blue have got here, like who's going to be able to deal with that Riptire? Who's going to be able to shoot it out? Not really too many people unless you get a nice Fire Strike maybe out from Gob or something like that. But there's just not a lot of damage that actually can come out of Blank Blue in that short amount of time and hit that tire and knock it out. So in theory, Jordation should be getting pretty easy tires out. Well,
particularly even when they got all the way around to the left. You can see Brigitte coming out with the rally right now. But really, Jordan, we'll see whether they can make the most of this or not. Look at all the shields are just insane across the board between all of those support ultimates.
But Blank haven't gotten anything out of that. They've not denied any ultis out from the Drop Bears. Drop Bears have just been sitting back there. Color Hex, I think, used his ultimate. But aside from that, the Drop Bears have just been quite content to sit back. And now, here comes the Riptire. Blank Blue are getting absolutely decimated right now by the Drop Bears.
And I was going to say, even before, when that same setup made it round through the left, through that side room, onto the point, they really didn't do anything when they got there. There wasn't enough damage. Everyone stayed back. Jordation threw out, you know, mine after mine, I suppose, and it just really wasn't enough. We're going to probably need to see a change up here from Blank, and we will. Atar going to head over.
They're still searching for that recipe to success, and Atar feels as though it is going to be the Genji that's going to make that happen. He did, of course, use the ultimate just previously on Brigitte. Frogger hasn't got Sound Barrier available here either, and so Blank Blue, they don't have too much to work with here until that Graviton Surge self-destruct combo does come up, which will be shortly. There is still Transcendence available for the Drop Bears, and it's not going to be this fight that Blank Blue will get to use that. So Adam gets demeched, and no ultimates coming out there from Blank Blue, but that's not too bad of a fight. Yes, it costs them 30 or 40 seconds, but it does allow them time to build those ultis up. And this next fight for Blank Blue, it's pretty much going to have to be the one. They've got 1 minute and 46 seconds left, so once they use these ultis, there's not going to be that much time to actually build them up again. And if they don't make this one work, they're not going to have really much to work with in that final push.
That's it, and the counter here, Jordan, is the Drop Bears with 4 ultis ready to go. Jordation almost ready for Riptire. The only thing I can hope here is that some sick Graviton Surge in perhaps
that has to be
Atar with Dragon Blade or something. I just want to see how this plays out. They're going around to the left once again. It hasn't really worked for them so far, but this time Blank Blue do have the ulti charge to make this work.
Shoyo needs to catch this Graviton Surge. There's not any other counterplay there for the Drop Bears. They don't have the shields to deal with. If Jordation can find a pick here, he might shut it down, and he does. Atar is dropped, but there's still a chance here for Blank Blue. They're still committing to this fight. There's the Graviton Surge.
Graviton Surge, as you said, will come out. No one going down this time. Oh, great self-destruct coming out from Adam, but Colorhex counteracts that with a barrage over the top. Still haven't managed to find a single tick in 50 seconds on the clock. Shoyo still with self-destruct ready to go now here on defense as well, Jordan. Colorhex going to get picked up there by Frogger, but Gob kind of stuck here in this corner, and he will go down eventually.
That's a massive stagger out for Blank Blue. That fight took so long. Frogger only just now going down, and they're going to really take a lot of time to get back onto that point. They're basically going to be jumping on straight into overtime. And Drop Bears still have Gob with, Quartz with the Primal Rage and Shoyo with the self-destruct there. Jordation coming up on another Riptire as well. So the Drop Bears have every single tool that they really need here to hold off Blank Blue. And what I say about Blank Blue, if they don't get that last fight, they're going to have nothing to work with in the final fight. Well, it's really all down to Atar now with this Dragon Blade. He needs to get 2 or 3 kills straight off the bat. Otherwise, it's all said and done for Blank Blue, and they're not going to get a single tick.
And between the self-destruct and now Jordation's Riptire, Jordan, it's a pretty tough ask here for Blank Blue to do anything. If one of these picks goes down there, sign, see ya later. Adam demeched as well. Frogger trying to stay alive. Atar with the Dragon Blade. Let's see what he can find, trying to chase down these supports. There's 2. That's both supports now down. But this overtime is ticking away, and the Drop Bears still sitting on the point, still holding it back. Atar trying to keep the hopes and dreams alive here for Blank Blue. Really want to find this second point. That's great work onto Colorhex. We said it was down to Atar, and he is doing work, but self-destruct now on the point.
Oh, that's almost enough. Oh, they just got back onto this point in time. I thought the overtime was going to run out as a result of that self-destruct, but Sydney Drop Bears, this is where the trickle is going to start to favor them. We've seen the Reinhardt swap now for Quartz. He does go down quite quickly to Atar and Sign, but right now Blank Blue have such a long run back onto the point. They might still be able to do this, Ben, because they are coming up on some big ultimates here. Sign with the Pulse Bomb. Just going to get some big value. There goes a Kraken. And they still have Adam on the self-destruct. Frogger has the Valkyrie available as well. I think Blank Blue might be able to do this.
Well, we saw Gob go down in the background as well. 75%, 80%, they maybe find the point. Just Quartz to Shoyo alive right now. Shoyo does not even have a mech. He goes down, and the point over to Blank Blue, Jordan. Whoa.
Yeah,
all on the back of Atar on the Genji with the Dragon Blade. Just imagine if he had stayed alive in the previous fight and was able to use that Dragon Blade then.
Yeah, I thought that the Dragon Blade came out a little bit too late. I thought that Blank Blue had lost too much, and despite the fact that Atar was able to get both of the healers there, he, you know, I just thought it was a little bit too little too late, but Sydney Drop Bears, they can't quite hang on there. It was a case of, again, Blank Blue coming up onto some pretty important ultimates at some pretty important times. And unfortunately for Drop Bears, what was a very, very good defense now turns into Blank Blue still getting both of those points, so bare minimum for Drop Bears. If they cap out both of those points, we're going to be going through to another, you know, I guess an overtime, I suppose. And I think Drop Bears will be disappointed with that because they held on for so long. And then just to get pipped to the post at the very end.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to see that Blank were managed to capture out both points. Now it's really just a matter of can they hold the Drop Bears before the second point, or if not, at least make it happen in overtime. That would be more, I guess, ideal than the alternative here, where the Drop Bears are just too strong and get another shot at point A. Yeah,
well, you don't want, if you're Blank Blue, you don't want Drop Bears to cap that second point with any time remaining, because that really nullifies any of your ability to get a win on this map, and that's what they really, really need. They can't afford to allow this to go to a draw or anything like that.
Yeah, a draw's a win here for the Drop Bears.
Yeah, exactly. So 2-0 up. Drop Bears are still in control of this series right now, and even if they lose this map, they still have potential to go 3-1, in which case, again, they'll be quite pleased. Really, getting a result like that over your biggest competition in the group is fantastic for them. Having a look at this defensive setup for Blank Blue, again, signed is going to be on the Widowmaker. Atar also sticking with the Genji, but there is the change up there for Gob on the Orisa. It's a very, very backward sort of defense here for Blank Blue. I think they're just going to try and buy as much time as possible. This isn't really going to be a full attempt in terms of just holding on to the point, but we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll see how this one plays out. And you can see was double sniper initially here for the Drop Bears. Culhex going to swap across, however, onto the Genji. And for now, just waiting for him to come through before they push on through into the point. And that's precisely what they do. Half the team going around to the left. Culhex scooted around to the right, however.
Yeah, just biding his time, waiting for the rest of his team to take the engagement. Then he can sort of wrap around the back. And have a look at what Jordation's doing here. Just being a little bit cheeky, seeing if he can find someone through those holes in the top of the roof. But being able to get an angle. And obviously Blank Blue well aware of that.
Again, still you can see now two players on the left-hand side of this point coming from the defensive side, or if you're looking at it from the defensive angle, at least onto the point to start things off. But forced off one would expect that Shoyo there in the Diva. And both the tanks now just on top of the point here for the Drop Bears. We'll see whether Blank can hold them back, but a Kraken, the first one to go down there.
1-for-1 trade, but when your supports go down, that's not great. However, Gob has been dropped. Jordation, the Storm Arrows, does get the better of him, and that might be the opening here that the Drop Bears need. Indeed, it is. Blank Blue just falling apart. As soon as that Orisa gets dropped, it's too easy to get through the rest of the players. There's no real big tank at the front, and again, we're not really expecting that first point to offer too much resistance. So Blank are buying a little bit of time there. Fair enough. Fairly similar. I think right now, if you were sort of looking at how quickly Blank got it and how quickly the Drop Bears got it, that was pretty much on par.
Pretty much par, exactly right, Jordan. But this second phase, pushing onto point B, is really what this match is all about right now. They're going to go around to the left to start things off. That is what Blank did as well. It didn't work for them. The Drop Bears managing to keep that health up. Looked a little bit low to begin, but now they're onto the point. We'll see whether they can get any ticks, at least the third. And Colorhex now with his Dragon Blade, going to pop that one, trying to get into the back line. That's precisely what he's do. Untic goes down, wants to find Signed as well, not able to do it.
Oh, a Kraken.
Oh my goodness, that's 3 picks now coming out from the Drop Bears, Jordan. They're looking so strong. Self-destruct goes through. I don't think it will find anyone.
Hunter needs a big Transcendence here for Blank Blue. He's up to 97%. If he goes down before that Transcendent comes out, Blank Blue lose this point right now, but there is still a chance for them to hold on to it. They need to be using this Transcendence to maximum effectiveness. Self-destruct comes out there from Shoyo. Doesn't really get too much, but at least pushes Blank Blue off the point, and they might still be able to hold on to this one, but even still, the Drop Bears have gained 2 ticks out of that. They'll be happy. That's enough. Really off the back of just one ultimate there from Colorhex and a great kill from a Kraken onto Atar. The Drop Bears have made their job so much easier.
They have indeed. You can see how close they are. 2/3 of the way right now. Just one more third will get them across the line here, Jordan. And at the moment, if they did that, they would have a ton of time on the time bank to push through. We really see just how strong some of these guys are on Genji. Time and time again, it comes down to that Dragon Blade.
And it's again going to be a very, very similar scenario to what we saw when Blank Blue was on the attack. That death ball composition really out from the Drop Bears, countered by Signed here with the Junkrat. At the moment, the Drop Bears quite far behind economically speaking. They've all just swapped off, but we'll see if they can make this one happen. Color Hex gets caught by the Steel Trap, and he seems to be okay for now.
Oh,
first pick goes the way of Quats.
Yeah, Jordation picked up in return. However, a Kraken here on the Moira, trying to keep everyone alive, doing a pretty reasonable job for now. Yeah, you got to get those right clicks on as well if you want to be able to heal as the Moira.
Coalescence nearly there, 97% for a Kraken. That could be the difference.
Here we come. Coalescence comes through from a Kraken. This might be enough. They're trying to push more on the point. Get a little bit of a tick. Self-destruct comes through. Signed, though, ready with a Riptide. We'll see whether that's played. And Hunter as well will have that Transcendence to push through. Doesn't actually find anyone, so that's a little bit less than ideal here for Blank Blue on the defense. Gob has gone down. Signed gone down.
Quad.
Adam D-Mech here, Jordan. Graviton Surge. This could be it.
Yeah, it can be it. I think, obviously, Sydney Drop Bears just coming up onto Multiple. It's at the perfect timing. Quats had the Earth Shatter and then Color Hex with the Graviton Surge. That's just too much CC for Blank Blue to deal with. Now they're going for those stall tactics. Signed has swapped off onto the Mei. Going to be quite irritating, of course, to deal with, but inevitably will go down. And now it's just the trickle here for Blank Blue. And once you get to that point, it always feels almost inevitable. When you have players of this caliber on the attacking side and they're not losing anybody either on the side of Drop Bears, there's just too many players to deal with on that point. Blank Blue finally losing their last player, and that is going to be the Drop Bears closing out 2 points for themselves as well with 3 minutes 14 in the time bank. They have a very, very good chance of closing this series out here and now.
Well, there was very little that Blank could do there in the end. We saw Jordation come out with the rally. Then we saw, of course, the sound barrier coming through as well. So it's pretty tough to hold off all of those shields, Jordan. So it is what it is, I suppose. And as you can see there, 3:14 is what is on the clock. Just looking for just a tick. That'll do it.
Yep.
That will be
It's a lot of time to get one tick here on that first point. We've not seen too much of a defense on the first point of Temple of Anubis just yet from either of these two teams. So if I had to put money down on this one, I'd be putting it on the Drop Bears at this point.
Well, worst comes to worst, the Drop Bears still win the matchup though, Jordan, because the worst they can get here now is that draw.
That's true. That's actually a big important factor for Drop Bears. They've now essentially secured themselves a one-match advantage over Blank Blue, which really could be the difference between first and second place, and I suspect that it will be, because when you look across the rest of that group that these two are in, Drop Bears should be favoured in every single other matchup.
That's it. And if we look back, of course, to Season 1 playoffs, it was teams who were seeds 7 and 8, obviously playing seeds 1, 2 from previous group, or 1 from each group, you know what I mean, 1 and 4.
Yep.
The 4th seed was, you know, probably less great than the 3rd seed, and that sounds. But there was a big difference, is what I'm trying to say, between who first played and who second played. Yeah,
definitely. But at the end of the day, we still saw the top 4 teams through, which was pretty much the expected result anyway. We still have to establish who the top 4 teams are going to be in this season, actually. For now, it's definitely looking like Drop Bears are going to be keeping the throne, at least in Group A, as Blank Blue not really offering too much of a resistance so far in this matchup.
Look, Signed actually managed to find 2, both of the supports actually, so that's pretty useful coming out. Or at least, I guess they're playing 3 supports, but you consider Jordation there on the Brigitte. But look, there you go, easy peasy. Blank going to go down to Drop Bears.
Bit anticlimactic at the end there, isn't it, really, when you only have to get 1 tick on Temple of Anubis. And yeah, obviously you said both supports. It is a bit hard to deal with, isn't it? But Jordation kind of playing that 3rd sort of support, off-tank, DPS, kind of everything balled into one. Brigitte is such a menace. And so, yeah, great work from the Drop Bears. Now absolutely winning this series 3-0 right now. Even if they drop the next map, doesn't matter at all. Drop Bears have done their job today, and they're going to be feeling really, really pleased.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want to start off season number 2. But for you and me, Jordan, maybe not how we wanted to start this matchup, because I honestly thought that these two teams were going to be pretty close.
Well, I mean, for me, to be fair, in a way, what I want to see is like those strong teams playing really, really well. And right now, that's exactly what we're getting out of the Drop Bears. It's not like, okay, we won Season 1, let's rest on our laurels. We've had a roster change. It's going to take us some time to get the ball rolling. But no, absolutely not. The Drop Bears have come out here swinging, all guns blazing, They're all looking in fantastic form right now, individually speaking. Every single player having a massive impact in their role, and that is just excellent to see because Sydney Drop Bears are right now the best in the region, and if that persists, then we've got another very, very exciting finals ahead of us.
Yeah, we certainly will. What are you thinking of the change here from Micro to Aita? Aita's certainly doing a fair bit of damage there on the Genji. You know, the plays that we saw coming out of him have been pretty strong.
I don't know if it's going to be enough really to fix the problems that Blank Blue have, because when you look at obviously Micro versus ATAR, maybe you could say that ATAR is an upgrade in terms of experience and that kind of thing, but realistically speaking, they're both going to have fairly similar kind of hero pools and that sort of thing. And I guess it's not that the hero pool is the issue for Blank Blue, but they just need something else. I mean, right now, Blank Blue, we know that they've got skilled players, and adding ATAR, another skilled player, it's not the difference. No. Really, it seems like you've almost kind of changed one player with another, and you've really just upgraded in terms of experience. Maybe he can add a cooler head, more experienced player in that roster, maybe do a bit of shot calling and that kind of thing, or not necessarily shot calling, but providing some assistance maybe in that respect, and that could be an advantage. But realistically speaking, I don't think that the result would be any different had we had Micro, had we had ATAR.
Micro had a pretty good season 1 as well. Let's be real, one of the more talented players in our region. So the swap out probably not making that much of a difference.
It doesn't feel like a massive upgrade.
No. So let's go and take a look at what a fourth and final map will look like here. Our first matchup of the season. We're going to Route 66, Jordan. And another pick going to be here for Blank Blue, considering they've lost all of the maps so far, so they get to keep on picking. This time, I don't know. How do we feel that they played on Escort? When we saw them on Iconvolt, they were okay on that Escort portion, but
yeah, they just didn't really have the time to work with, did they?
Yeah.
I think it's really a lost cause right now for Blank Blue. We're just not seeing them win the fights that they need to across the board. And I guess, again, to touch on the roster changes, not necessarily for Blank Blue, but for the Drop Bears, I think it's worked out perfectly, really. If you look at all the teams that have kind of had roster changes, I think for Drop Bears, they've definitely had one of the bigger upgrades, and that's not a knock on Billa at all, but this kind of a meta, we're not seeing Sombra, and Billa was fantastic on the Sombra for the Drop Bears, but now that you've got a player like Color Hex being able to slot into this roster when the Sombra has fallen off, it just feels like almost a direct upgrade there for the Drop Bears in terms of the DPS, so just the hero pool really working out fantastically for Drop Bears as well in this kind of a meta as well, so yeah, I think Drop Bears are doing really, really well, so they've had a big upgrade in my mind. And be interesting to see Darksided as well tomorrow, because I think that's the other one that we have to have a look at. That's the big change, really, for me. But yeah, definitely very impressive stuff from this new Drop Bears roster. And I say new, but they are fairly similar, really. It's just the one change.
Yeah. Big shout out to Macca's, McDonald's Australia for the support here.
Yeah, give me some
Overwatch
nuggies.
Contenders Australia. We're on Route 66, John. You'd think there would be a McDonald's on Route 66, but I don't know whether they'd have a McCafe though, because I'm a big McCafe fan.
I'm not a McCafe person.
I'm not a coffee guy. Really, every day that's me. I can't
I'm always waiting till after 10:30 for the lunch menu.
If I don't have a coffee in the morning, then everyone else here at the office doesn't want to talk to me.
Well, I don't know if that's coffee related or just, you know, just.
Well, let's see how Blank goes out here on attack. Maybe they can scrape one back, Jordan. Now we're on to Escort.
Well, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
I would love to see that, indeed. Just a bit of momentum heading to the rest of the season. And Color very impressive first pick there on the side.
Yeah, he's just gone flying off into the moon, or onto the diner, not sure which, but not a great start there for Blank Blue. Quats has gone down though, so saying that, Sydney Drop Bears are going to just have to back off a little bit here, and typically we do see the defensive team setting up for Diner. That was a very, very aggressive initial defense out from Drop Bears. Don't think it's going to actually hurt them too much. I say Diner, it's actually a workshop. I don't know why I call it Diner.
Right, no, the Diner's at the start.
The Diner's at the start,
in the Diner.
Big Earls.
Yeah, get it right, mate. Get it right. And what looked like a pretty convincing start here from Blank, Jordan, is now been forced back by the Drop Bears, who have managed to regroup and find themselves a bit of better position here on the high ground.
Yeah, Jordation just charging forward with that Mesa swinging. Shoyo there as well, charging up his energy. And just look at how aggressive the Drop Bears are being. They're really pushing straight on to Blank Blue, taking this fight straight to them. Not allowing Blank Blue to get any possible positioning onto this cart.
Adam holding out here with the self-destruct. Over the top it goes. Is there anyone there? Won't find anyone this time around. Almost goes down as well. Needs to be careful when you get out of the mech. You're a very soft, squishy target all of a sudden for those snipers to try and take down. See that Frogger's managed to bring one back. And Jordation, nice work there onto AVRL.
Yeah, he gets his ultimate off there as well. Rallying the troops as the City Drop Bears now pushing on forward once again. And this might just be a rout. Flame Blue have lost a player. They've had a D-Mech there as well onto Adam, and that's not good news at all for them. Jordation just absolutely bullying Adam there. What are you going to do when you get knocked in the face by a shield and then a mace and then a mace again?
Yeah, well, it's less than ideal. I guess the point is don't get caught out.
I reckon Jordation's been playing a bit of Brigitte in the deathmatch.
Yeah, you reckon that's it?
Mm.
Is that what you do?
I did, actually.
Were you any good?
I came third, I think.
Out of 3?
No, like 9, 10. I don't know.
All right.
I mean, I'm not great at Overwatch, but I'm not terrible.
Yeah, okay, you say that, but look at these ultimates coming out across the board. Shoyo still holding on to his, but now not needing it because look at that Blank Blue. Down, all 6 of them. Team and kill indeed. Great work from the Drop Bears there on defense. And man, they're just holding them so close to the start. This is the perfect point. That payload now starting to drift back.
Drop Bears looking scarier than ever, I'll be honest. This is, I mean, again, I wasn't at finals, but I feel like this is the scariest looking Drop Bears that we've seen during a regular season at least.
It was really only Darksider that could hold a candle to them. And this season we won't see that until the end. So, you see the ultis coming out across the board. You can hear that Graviton surge as well. Nice work. Look at all these shields as well. So very useful. With Jordation actually now finally going to go down there to signed. Maybe this pick's going to be enough. They've only got 40 seconds to work with here on attack. Blank Blue need to get it all the way around the corner. Shoyo
smartly keeping himself alive there. He had a lot of energy charged up, so you don't want to be throwing that away in a situation like this. Color Hex does go down to Gob, though. That's a really important pick for Blank Blue. And it is going to force Drop Bears back. They look like they might just give this one up, but they do have some ultis they can contest with, and indeed they will. Rally comes out from Jordation, and AVRL gets absolutely smashed.
Look at this, Jordation right in the middle. The self-destruct going to come out here from the Blank Blue on attack, but it's not going to find anyone. AVRL finally resurrected now by Frogger coming back. Must have only just been in the nick of time there as well. Blank Blue with everyone still alive. 6 seconds on the clock. Potential this now to go into overtime, but a couple of picks coming out from the attacking team. Should be enough. Graviton surge. Where to go, Jordan?
Animated.
Nom 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 nom. Happy, hungry hippos.
Happy, hungry diva.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Blank Blue, I really got to give a shout out to Gob there because he was putting so much pressure on Color Hex. 2 fights in a row. Color Hex being such an important proponent of the DPS there, especially when Jordation is on the Brigitte. You need the Widowmaker to be having an impact, and when there's a Winston on top of Color Hex there, he just has to back out. There's nothing that he can do, and no one from Drop Bears could help him out. So that was really excellent from Gob, and it allowed Blank Blue to actually cap that point up and now push on forward. But again, they've used a lot of time to get that first point. It's very similar to Eichenwald here, where they go into the second phase of the map with not a lot of time left on the clock.
They pushed quite a distance forward there, as you said, Jordan, trying to get that high ground, trying to see how much of the payload they can push through here for free. They get about a third of the way, not too bad. Frogger, though, going to get picked up there by Jordation, so no resurrections now. Going to come out here for a little bit, which maybe in combination with the rest of the lack of heals, I suppose, Jordan, will slow this down. Sinder's gone down as well. Gob trying to fight up on top of the bridge. You will see that Primal Rage popped along with the self-destruct. But no kills so far. Finally, a Kraken goes down. And Blank Blue trying to push this one through. Doing okay, but running out of time.
Nice shot from Unter there onto Jordation, but this is a much different fight, it feels, than the last one, where both the DPS from Drop Bears were under a lot less pressure. Inevitably, they do actually go down, and we see an opening here for the Drop Bears, especially because Bertlog is low. He just doesn't quite get out of there alive. Blank Blue continuing the cart push forward. Drop Bears, I think they just have to reset here because they're kind of coming in one by one, and that's allowing Blank Blue some pretty easy fights right now.
Yeah, what was a very good Phase 1 here from the Drop Bears has been slightly less impressive. Phase 2, Blank Blue actually doing some pretty good work. This is what we expect to see from them, Jordan. And they're trying to push through the advantage that they gained coming off Phase 1, where they had pretty much everyone alive when they captured the point, or they got the payload through to the end. Now leaves them with 2 minutes here to go through this third and final phase on Route 66, and you never know.
Oh.
Maybe they'll find enough. Jordation already going to go down. Quats will manage to bring it back a little bit, but you see that res coming through right now. Color Hex trying to find a pick, wants to find one of these supports, but not happening for now. Infrasight ready to go, however, this will prove very useful in just a second. I'm not so sure, though, about that ulti coming out from Jordation.
Yeah, just a zoning ultimate trying to keep them at bay. Frogger did go down inevitably, so I think Jordation was trying to catch him with that one. Good work from Colorhex just hanging on to that Infrasight. It's going to buy another 12 seconds here for the drop bears before Blank Blue is going to be too keen to push in. And if Colorhex can find a pick off the back of this as well, it's going to get even more time. Fortunately for the drop bears, it's not going to happen, and the push does come out from Blank Blue.
Less than ideal was Gob going down. The res comes out. Rally comes through as well here on attack, Jordan. We'll see whether Kraken's going to need to pump this out. He will. Transcendent comes through. Pretty much a forced Transcendence, to be fair.
He kind of let Jordation die a little bit there, I think, so maybe a little less than ideal for a Kraken, but Jordation going down might be enough for Blank Blue to continue the push on forward. Straight away, the res comes out, though, from Bertlog, so never mind anything that I just said. Sitting drop bears once again putting the pressure onto Blank Blue, wasting a lot of those ultis and using up a lot of that time.
Offensive trans is what we'll see now from Blank. They want to try and get this payload moving. 35 seconds on the clock, and well, Shoyo D mech, so makes life a little bit tougher now for the drop bears. You can see Bertlog there, ready to go with a Valkyrie, however, but won't be able to come through and res that Shoyo. No need. But they've lost a lot of room. It's really going to come down to this final point now, Jordan.
It is, and right now the drop bears, they're just losing players one by one. The trades do come back in, however. Colorhex and a Kraken having a big impact. Bertlog also resing up Jordation. We've seen that before. And Blank Blue running out of time now. That's the worst possible time for them to actually drop players like that. It doesn't even seem like they're going to be able to get onto that cap. It's going to have to be Adam going on forward with that D.Va, but he just gets smacked in the face by Quats. A nice Primal Rage keeps him at bay. Not a bad defense out from the drop bears. They would have been much happier keeping them stuck on that first point, but stop them from capping all 3 points. You really can't complain about that on Route 66 because a lot of the time we do see all 3 points getting capped up.
Look at that after the buzzer self-destruct kills coming out from Adam. They're always my favorite, to be honest, because you can hear the ding, 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 ding when you get the frags.
Is that because it's the only time you get a frag?
No, I get lots of kills, Jordan. Thank you, as a D.Va main.
A D.Va main?
Yeah. #1 D.Va main in my household.
That's very impressive, man.
Yeah. That's it. That's what we like to see. What we don't like to see, though, is the run probably the Blanks had today. To be fair, that's probably what we just saw then, the best result they've got so far. Let's see how they can do on defense. The drop bears was so strong on this first phase as well on defense. See if Blank can do the same thing. I hope so.
Don't think so.
Yeah, okay. How times have changed, Jordan. It's been a few months.
I know, yeah.
Look.
Go back 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Not even. And we were saying drop bears, pretty solid 4th place team. Blank Blue, probably best team in the region, at least going into Contenders Season 1. But now, yeah, everything's flipped on its head. That's how storylines develop. And the drop bears right now are the kings.
No, they're the drop bears.
They're the drop bears.
Yeah.
But they are definitely up the top of Australian Overwatch. Australian New Zealand Overwatch.
Yeah. They should be feeling pretty good about that as well. It was a pretty good pickup as well. For obviously they weren't playing under the drop bears when they got they came into Contenders. So
I mean, that could be a big thing for them, right? Really having access to those kinds of facilities. And
yeah. They have a lot of backing as an org. So pretty fortunate in that regard. It just goes to show what you can do.
Well, maybe that is the difference, right? Imagine Blank Blue have that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, it's hard to quantify.
It is. But whatever the drop bears have been doing when they haven't been on the field has been quite effective. And look at this, already pushing around this first corner here on attacker, the drop bears. We'll see whether they can do this in any sort of decent time, or perhaps maybe Blank Blue can give us a showing here on defense and see what they can do. But so far, so good. As the payload continues on, they're going to have to find a point to hold this, Jordan. I'm not sure what point it's going to be. I guess this very last corner.
Well, they're going to have to find a pick there as well. The lineup that Blank Blue has got, again with Signed, looking to find the picks, and so far they're not happening. Atar does get dropped below, but healed up relatively quickly. Now Quats has been dropped. So Blank Blue, they draw first blood here. That'll slow the drop bears down a little bit.
Yeah, Bertlog not going to go for the resurrection. Gob going to get forced back as well. Wants to heal up, but Colorhex finds the kill onto side. We'll see whether the Frogger comes through. Dragon Strike trying to, I guess, separate them out. And Gob goes down either way, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe if Frogger goes down here looking for the pick. No, not going to be the case right now.
Always
and
tough.
Both Adam and Atar finding frags. So the drop there is going to get slowed just a tad. Now Jordation getting resurrected. Culhex still trying to find that pick, but it is not to be. Perhaps now with this infra site, this will make life a little bit easier for Culhex here on the Widow.
Yeah.
But no.
No, apparently not. Adam, much better Widow on the Diva there. Does get rid of Culhex. Sniping away. The Bunny Blaster.
Mate, it's pretty...
It is actually quite nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's a different type of projectile, right? So it just hits a little bit better.
Sometimes, like, when I was playing Diva before she got the rockets, I almost felt like I did more DPS with the Bunny Blaster.
It's probably because you're bad.
Well, I don't know about that.
Last fight here potentially on point A. Self-destruct coming through. Not actually sure where that was going. Perhaps trying to hold those guys out of the point coming from Shoyo, trying to keep them from pushing on. But it doesn't really make any difference right now. Dragon Strike going to come through once again from Jordation. Hunter's gone down in the back. Self-destruct going the other way, but Color Hex and Bertlock both going down to nice Dragon Blade there from Atar, Jordan. But it doesn't matter.
Nope. Pretty good time out there for the Drop Bears. Excellent work from Quats in that last fight as well, getting into the back lines with the Primal Rage on, creating so much room, creating so much space there for Blank Blue, and Stein couldn't really get into the fight either. So that was a big DPS loss for Blank, and as soon as he got back into it, he was having to duel with Color Hex. So all in all, really, really good fight for Drop Bears, and they continue that push on forward with about a minute extra over what Blank Blue had at this point.
Yeah, 3:30 on the clock now. And as of yet, no one from Blank has pushed on out to try and defend this second phase. Here we go. Going to try and take the high ground back. Doing a reasonable job so far. That Color Hex a little bit out in the open. Just trying to find some kills. Getting a bit of damage. We'll have to drop back for now. Jordation has actually done pretty well here on this Hanzo so far, Jordan. Not too bad. We'll see whether this ulti coming out, another Dragon Strike, is going to get any damage. But Color Hex goes down in the back line to Sign. Show you over the top with a self-destruct. Evens up the odds. And Jordation trying to stay alive, wants to find a great Dragon Strike. But Gob goes down in the background. And looks like Adam's going to go down as well. Going to get that D-Mech. That makes life now very tough for Blank to hold this out. And they don't have any tanks.
Well, luckily you've got a Mercy there, Stein, but it's still not going to be enough. Quat's jumping right on top of him. Jordation must have commed. Headshot onto the Widowmaker. And let's chase that one down. This is a great ultimate from Jordation. That's going to be doing so much zoning. Should be enough to allow the Drop Bears through, but Atar has other ideas. He's popped off the Dragon Strike as well, and he's chased down two already. Maybe a third for him. Doesn't have the reset there.
Yeah, perhaps a little bit unlucky not to find Bertlock, but he was in the back line. He was pretty much uncontested. Frog has gone down to Quats. Maybe this payload's going to keep on moving. You can hear the Widow in the background, but no damage coming through as of yet. Atar really the front line of defense here, Jordan, for Blank Blue. It's not about the tanks, it's about this Genji. And Arthur going to go down to Quats, just using the jump packs to get on top. A Kraken there with a Transcendent. Adam looking very low with the self-destruct that's used now. Might be enough, forces them off the payload. But they might regroup and come back. 1:45 on the clock. Going to try and fight it out here still. Gob trying to push through with the ulti, but finally it goes down.
Shoyo doesn't look like he's going to get much out of that one there. Does not really be able to get him back into the mech either, as Shoyo does go down to the Pulse Bomb. But across the rest of the board, Drop Bears players having some nice impact. Quats with a couple of kills in there. Just finishes off Atar as well. That'll be Blank Blue dropping the next point over to Drop Bears. 2.5 minutes, or just over 2.5 minutes by the time Drop Bears actually get through this choke point and are able to start pushing in onto that final point. But remember, that all they need to do is get to where Blank Blue got. They don't even need to cap out the final point. So pretty tense couple of minutes now here for Blank Blue to at least try and salvage some pride in this matchup, get at least 1 point on the board.
Yeah, you can see Jordation already going to have that Pulse Bomb, Jordan, after having swapped off the Hanzo. We'll see how much effect it has here, pushing through this final point, this final phase here on Route 66. Sign doing the same thing. Perhaps those the snipers may be a little bit less effective in here. We'll see what Color Hex can do now with free range, though. Look at this. They're just pushing so far forward. The guys from Blank Blue really can't defend on the point. Quats will go down, however, to Adam. So a team disadvantage now for the Drop Bears in regards to numbers.
Yeah, they've still got time
to work with.
Oh, Kraken trying to be a little bit cheeky there. Get the fireball off into the head of Sign. Doesn't quite connect, unfortunately, for the Drop Bears. Bertlock's got Valkyrie here, going to try and heal up the rest of his teammates as Quads does pop that Primal Rage, but he's getting very, very low. He had a Discord Orb on him as well. Time for a revive, I think, Ben?
Yeah, a pretty good revive, actually getting in the nick of time, and Sign, unfortunately, not going to be able to do much about this the second time around. Frog has been picked up, however, by Color Hex. The backline is Shoyo ready to go here, Jordan, with a pretty good self-destruct, one might hope. There's so much you can do here with self-destruct in this last phase as well. You really just pop it over the top and find yourself some kills. This time he's going to use it to reset, however, that mech. Gob's going down to Jordation's Pulse Bomb, and you can see the payload pushing through. 1 minute 5 on the clock. Adam going to go down and should get picked up here in Baby Diva form in quick succession. That's certainly the case. So close.
Yep.
What can Blank do?
Well, that's the real question again. This is going to be their last-ditch attempt at defending. They, again, don't have any ultimates to defend. They always seem to find themselves in these tough positions without anything to play with, and this certainly is the Sydney Drop Bears round to lose now as they find the first 2 picks. Both Hunter and Frog are going down. Now Atar is dropped. Gob doesn't have a Primal Rage to buy any more time, and that is going to be it. The Sydney Drop Bears, it's going to be just a matter of time before they close this one out. Eventually they're the 4-0 up for the Sydney Drop Bears. Fantastic work from them across the board. Every single map they look like the better team. Every single time we see them take a fight, it just seemed inevitable for them to pick up the victory there.
It did, and they should be feeling pretty happy about that one, the 4-0 coming out. Last season, Jordan, the Drop Bears had a great start. They came through, they won every game up until the top of the table clash, and then they got decimated. This time, we have the top of the table clash at the start of the season, and no problems. Yeah, no problems at all there for Drop Bears. The form continuing on from Season 1 of Contenders. I mean, it's been a little bit of a break, but it doesn't seem like the Drop Bears have really been resting on their laurels at all. They've been working hard, it seems, and keeping themselves in form. Blank Blue just not able to stand up to it. Blank Blue, they're having a tough time at the moment, I guess, really, when you consider the result at LAN. It wasn't what they would have wanted. Now, losing their first game of Contenders, I think we can still quite safely assume that Blank Blue are going to be through to playoffs in second seed, at least for this group. But all in all, I mean, it's not the scary-looking Blank Blue that we were all sort of talking about, at least at the start of Season 1 of Contenders. So you brought that up and said, you know, how times have changed. Well, absolutely, times have certainly changed. Drop Bears hoping that they don't change for at least the rest of this season, because they want to win another season of Contenders. Well, that's it. Now the question for me, Jordan, is Legacy, who had a pretty reasonable Season 1. I felt like they improved across the board, which is precisely what you expect to see and hope to see in a framework, in a competition like Contenders, where they're playing every week, they're getting a chance to improve. Now, how are they going to stack up against a team like Blank? Have Legacy improved? Surely one would say that Blank must still be the better team, but when they go head-to-head, is it a case here that the Drop Bears have just improved that much, or are Blank stagnated? Well, it's a real question that we have to answer when we see Legacy versus Drop Bears. At the end of last season, that was a big matchup. Sorry, Legacy against Blank Blue, I should say. But that's a big matchup that we spoke about because it was basically Legacy or Blank Blue going through in the second seed in that group. In the end, it was Blank Blue, but the first 2 maps that we saw them play, Legacy and Blank Blue, were very, very close to match. Now, Blank got the win on both of those, but now this season, we've seen changes for both sides. Legacy, in my mind, are looking stronger than ever, at least on paper. I haven't seen them play just yet, but the changes that they've made look really, really good for their roster. So I'm very excited to see Legacy play here, and actually looking forward to seeing how strong of a roster Legacy can go, and whether or not they can continue that improvement that we saw out in Season 1 of Contenders. Yeah, whether it's going to be Elfishguy and Sandman hyping Legacy up for a failure, or whether they truly have improved the way that we hope they have, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, let's go and take a look at the maps that we played, a bit of a recap of their game. The Drop Bears, look at that, easy, 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 easy. Oasis goes their way. Yeah. Eichenwald goes their way. Temple of Anubis goes their way. And then, of course, Route 66. Oasis, pretty convincing. Eichenwald, pretty convincing. Temple of Anubis, maybe a little bit closer. I even still think that was pretty convincing, if I'm honest. Allowing Blank Blue to cap that final point. You know, they did go into overtime, but Drop Bears finished their first run with 3 minutes and 14 on the time bank, and realistically, when you've got 3:14 on Temple of Anubis, you just need to get 1 tick on first point. That's a very, very easy task. So it really always still felt like Drop Bears were going to close that map out. Yeah, well, they certainly do, and they do so in a fashion that I don't think any of us could necessarily have predicted. You know, even if you'd said, oh, Drop Bears going to find their first match of the season. I probably wouldn't have said 4-0. No. I would have, well, it's so easy to say in hindsight, right? But I think I would have predicted Drop Bears to win this match. But yeah, definitely not that convincingly. Well, a new addition to our regular season is our Macca's play of the game. Let's go and take a look at what it is. We're heading over to Temple of Anubis, Elfishguy. It's the new addition to the Drop Bears. Color Hex here playing it out on Zarya.
Yeah, really, really nice Graviton Surge out from Color Hex. And you saw how much energy that he had in this fight. And obviously being a very tank-heavy lineup for the Drop Bears, he needs to be the one to be putting out a lot of that damage. And he was certainly able to do that. So really having a massive impact with not only the Graviton Surge straight into the ground, making sure that there can be no possibility of anyone reflecting that back. You know, Atar maybe with the deflect, or I think at that point Adam was actually in the Baby Diva form, so no chance of eating it. But you know, in that case, if he was in the mech, then no chance of really being able to eat that one up. So really, really great work from Color Hex, and a fantastic addition to this Drop Bears roster. I think it's really only made them look stronger. It
certainly has, and well, they came out today with 4 wins, and precisely how you want to kick off the season. It's I don't know if it's concerning for Blank, at least
it's concerning for everyone else.
Yeah, well, that's definitely the case. At least Blank have got this out of the road now, and they can plan for the rest of the season. Maybe they go, well, perhaps we didn't expect to win that game, but we can plan to try and push through. I guess the other side, everyone's got to try and catch up, at least in Group A, to where the Drop Bears are. Yeah, definitely. Drop Bears is going to be the team to beat, really. Group B, again, you're going to be looking at Drop Bears and thinking, oh, they look pretty scary. When we get to playoffs, when we get to finals, we're going to have to go up against that as well. At least they have a little bit of a respite during the season. They don't have to go up against Drop Bears. But if I'm another team in Group B, you know, if I'm dark-sided, at least at this point, the team that I think is probably going to come out of Group B in first place, I'm a little bit scared. I want to be taking that first place so that I can avoid them. Well, guys and girls, that is game number 1 done and dusted of Overwatch Contenders Season number 2 Australia. The guys from Drop Bears picking that one up. Next up, it is Legacy up against the Bin Chickens. We're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, all of the action from match number 2. See you soon.